agenda is the public hearing for the proposed issuance of bonds in the estimated amount of $350,000 to pay the cost of the capital improvements for the town water system. The reason for this occurring is that Phase 1 is completed, but there is, because of changes in costs, there has been a shortfall in terms of what it's going to take to complete that project and do Phase 2. And so this is necessary for us to get further funding so that we don't have to tap into our reserves and spread it out over 40 years. And I will turn this over to Mr. Costin.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, members of council, ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing under the authority of 15.2, 2606 Code of Virginia 1950 as amended. The necessary notices have been given. This is a consideration of a resolution, has a very long title, so after this I'm just going to call it the resolution. A resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of a bond of the town of Urbanna, Virginia, in a principal amount not greater than $350,000 as an additional bond pursuant to an initial resolution adopted December 15, 2022 by the council. As the mayor noted, to bring to completion the well replacement project, and again, this is, to reference it again, it's the one on the flag-shaped lot. It's necessary to adopt the above referenced resolution. This will follow the adoption of an accompanying United States Department of Agriculture USDA resolution. Now, your bond counsel and financial advisor are present this evening to answer any questions you have. I think they're going to make a brief presentation. Nevertheless, in a brief summary, this loan process is to cover cost overruns, as the mayor noted, for Phase 1, the well construction, allowing for the payoff of the first loan and entering into a second loan to cover costs associated with Phase 1 in initiation of Phase 2 well connection. The original approved loan for Phase 1 of $1,056,000 was found to be insufficient given the escalation of project costs and supplies over time in these less than ideal economic times. The fiscal impact is as presented. The staff recommendation for council action in the council action requested is to adopt the resolution as presented. You have a sample motion before you. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to R.T. Taylor and your bond counsel, Webster Day. I think, R.T., you're going to... Sure. I'll be happy to take any questions after their presentation.
Good evening. Thank y'all for having us here this evening. I'm R.T. Taylor with Davenport & Company. I was here back in the December and February meetings, December 22, February 23, when the initial fundings took place. We had gotten the letter of conditions through USDA for the initial funding of $1,056,000. You all held the public hearing and approved moving forward with the project as a whole, with that being the amount at that time. So that public hearing was held. Y'all authorized the USDA debt. To get going on the project, USDA requires you to have interim funding. They no longer do the construction funding. So we did a interim note with Huntington that comes due this September 1st. It's a maturity date on that. So we have all the approvals in place to close on that first tranche with USDA. And I believe that rate on that is 1.75% or thereabouts. So it's very much below market interest rates. Fast forward to now, and we've got this second phase. I believe, Ted can correct me if I'm wrong, but the first phase basically was to construct the well. This is to start running the lines and hooking it up. So those bids came back. Obviously, that's additive cost. The application supplemental to the original loan application for USDA has been made, and we're in process. We should know in the next week or two the final, call it closing instructions related to that. So what we're here tonight is just to remind you of the initial loan. We're going to move forward to close on that so we have the monies in hand to be able to pay off that interim note before the end of August. Shortly thereafter, we'll be looking to close on this long-term USDA loan. No interim funding required on this. We can move straight to closing on the long-term loan. And you'll notice in your resolution you have before you tonight that we've said up to $350 and up to 4%. If we close on this second piece, the $350 or thereabouts, that'll be finalized. But if we close on that loan before the end of September, September 30th, our rate should be 3.25%. That's the current rate in this quarter, the way the federal government does it for the USDA programs. We're good at 3.25% until the end of September, okay? So that's what we're here tonight, is get authorized to do that so we can work with Ted, the mayor or vice mayor, to negotiate all those terms and not have to come back and redo a public hearing or another set of actions to further negotiate. So with that, I'm going to let or ask Webster to come up and speak to any questions you all have on the resolution.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'm Webster Day. I'm with the law firm of Spillman, Thomas & Battle. My firm served as bond counsel to the town in connection with the authorization of the first tranche of this financing, the $1,056,000. And now we're working with you in connection with the additional funding. And after you hold the public hearing and close it, then the Public Finance Act allows you to consider the authorizing resolution. The first resolution is the loan resolution that USDA requires on their form to be adopted by council. And that resolution basically says that the USDA, acting through rural development, will make this loan up to $350,000, and that the town agrees to certain things listed in that. And one of those is that the town council would also adopt a more detailed resolution, which is the authorizing resolution with the long title in your packet there. And that is the resolution that I prepared and have circulated for review prior to tonight, and that rural development is aware of. And that basically says that this extra bond of up to $350,000 will be issued as an additional bond to the first loan, and they'll be secured by the water revenues. It's not a general obligation of the town. It doesn't bind the town on full faith and credit or subject any increase in real estate taxes. It's payable solely from the revenues and receipts that you get by operating the water system.
Okay.
And that resolution authorizes mayor, vice mayor, or town administrator to negotiate with rural development up to the $350,000, up to an interest rate of 4%, and that once that's done, it would be issued at closing with rural development. It also presents the form of the bond, which is very similar to the bond that was approved in December 2022. I've gone over real quickly. I'm happy to answer any questions, details, or anything on that, either now or after the public hearing, at your pleasure.
I'm good.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Costin, are you going to pick this up at this point, or?
I've done my presentation.
Okay,
So-
I didn't know whether,
The
so at this
subject
point,
matter- the subject matter experts have done their presentation. It's open for public hearing at this
so
point.
I open this
Public
public
comment.
hearing on this bond resolution. Do I have, I don't have a sign-up sheet for that. Do we have a sign-up sheet for that?
Nobody signed up.
Okay, all right, with nobody signing up, I close the public hearing. And does council have any other questions about what we're doing here?
Nope.
It's basically trying to finish this other well. Well, so I guess the next question is, I will close this public hearing. And with the public hearing being closed, I would ask someone to
I'll make a motion.
make a motion to, there you go.
I move to adopt the resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of a bond to the town of Urbana, Virginia, in principal amount not greater than $350,000 as an additional bond pursuant to an initial resolution adopted December 15th, 2022 by the council as presented.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
I think Alana gets this
I think Alana got that. No, go ahead and take it.
one. No,
No, you got
no,
it.
no.
Alana,
I want everybody to know I'm still alive.
All right, motion
moved every
is
now
made
and
and
then.
seconded. And do I have any further discussion? All right. Sandy Sturgill,
Yeah.
Marjorie Austin.
Yes.
Alana Court.
Yes.
I say yes. Larry Tuning. Yes. Beth Justice.
Yes.
Mary Hanson.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. Did you come all the way from Richmond?
We need to do we need to do the first one.
The-
There are two separate resolutions.
Oh, okay.
Skip the first one.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
We debated what order to put this in, and I guess we should put it in the other order. You have the second resolution that does not require a public hearing. That is the that is the resolution regarding the USDA.
Okay.
So
Oh,
you
yeah.
have that as agenda item 6A1,
So what you need
Okay.
is the,
a separate motion for
The
the
type of loan
USDA
resolution.
resolution, yes.
so I move to adopt the United States Department of Agriculture USDA loan resolution for the public bodies as presented.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Motion is moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All right. Mary Hanson.
Yes.
Beth Justice.
Yes.
Larry Tuning. Yes. I say yes. Alana Courtney.
Yes.
Marjorie Austin.
Yes.
And Sandy Sturgill.
Yes.
All right. Now, moving on, there are two sets of minutes.
One,
One.
it's for
August
August
8th.
8th, 2024. I'll make the motion to approve the minutes for March 28, 2024 work session as presented.
All right. Second on that.
Second.
Good. Discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Drive
Drive
safely.
safely out there. All right. No discussion. We'll have the vote. Sandy Sturgill.
Yes.
Marjorie Austin.
Yes.
Alana Courtney.
Yes.
I say yes. Larry Tuning. Beth Justice.
Yes.
Mary Hanson.
Yes.
All right. Going on to reports. Town Administrator.
All right. Again, good evening. Since my last report, I've been meeting with citizens, council members, and professionals in various combinations regarding the pool operations, DMV, the well project, and some other topics. As to the pool operations and construction issues are being addressed as they arise. We've really had no substantial complaints received concerning the services of the staff. The swim team unfortunately had to cancel 2 home meets due to excessive heat impacting the water because of the water temperature in the pool. But the championships were successfully held. The pool will be used by them once more for an end of the year season gathering. Another meeting was held on August 1 involving the Bond Council, USDA. I think you're familiar with that process now. But we also held a pre-construction meeting with the selected firm on the 24th. I'd still like to do a meeting regarding the July 4th, 6th events. I've made no progress on the no wake or for the Urbanna Creek or the sign at the end of Virginia Street or the Friends of Urbanna MOU. Progress has been made by Dominion Power with several poles removed or further prepared to be removed. The home occupation amendments and altering of residential uses in the B1 zoning district was completed. And with your consensus, we are accepting the donation of a handicap swing for the Tabor Park from the Oyster Festival Queen candidate Anna Crown. And a draft of the 2023 audit was received, but revisions were necessary. And as of today, we have received the audit. So Michelle and I will be reading through that, and we will pass that on to you all for action. We also held a meeting with DEQ. At their staff at the site of the marina to consider the kayak launch. There's some good news there. That is all considered fill material, so there's no detailed wetlands permit that we have to go through. And
good.
we still have the option that this may be a good Eagle Scout project.
To
We've
the
got
left of the,
as you're facing due north, to the right.
Of
Not-
what?
not-
So north of the.
You do it
North of the marina.
okay,
Your
I don't
face-
know
your-
north and south.
Okay.
I'm directionally
to the
challenged.
to the river, to the river.
So if you're looking at the river,
If you're in the marina property looking towards the river, it would be on the
Okay.
right-hand side,
Okay.
along the
Off
fence
the
line,
wall.
along the
It's
fence
along
line.
the-
It's
Yeah.
up against
Those are
the,
Witch wines.
Rich wine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yep.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And we did have an all-hands staff meeting that was conducted here. We had a good exchange of information. I think they enjoyed it. We have some action items. And just to let you all know, I think you've seen the emails. We have been, no pun intended, we've been tracking Debbie, making sure that things were ready for that. It looks like it's shifting more, but we're still not quite out of the bullseye yet.
Yeah.
Probably not until sometime tomorrow will we be past the tornado threat. But we did track that, had good conversations with Mr. Lehman, Dominion, and others. So we were tracking that. Be happy to take any questions you have.
I have a question for you.
Yes,
The Friends of Urbana, the MOU, what is, I thought they already had that pretty much set up.
We haven't done anything on that yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is-
yeah. I mean, we know where we're heading, it's just the document has to be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question, Ted. The pool, the heat, the closing down, that has nothing to do with the pool, correct? That's
No, that was
the
just
heat.
the,
That's
that was
the
just the
heat.
I mean, any
heat. this-
pool
It's not that
inside.
deep,
Yeah.
so it's gonna
Yeah.
get hot.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, it's gonna stay
97
hot.
degrees.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it was just the weather and just that protracted 100 and some degree day after day after day. At one point, it was as high as 90 degrees. And for competitive swimming, you can't go in if it's over 84. So that was the issue.
In the shallow end, it was 97.
Wow. Wow.
Thank you, Ted.
That's a science experiment. Michelle?
Well, we were cussing this.
Treasurer's report.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Kurt.
As per published in your packet, there's nothing really out of the norm, pretty much business as usual. I did make a note that golf carts, we now have 109 golf carts registered to the town of Urbana.
Are we, Michelle, are we registering people up Red Hill? Are we giving them a sticker?
If they have the proof, yes, and the reason, it is their responsibility to abide by the law. I have one lady that I do a sticker for every year. She actually lives in Deltaville, and she trailers her golf cart, parks it out there, rides it around town, goes get something to eat, shops, comes back, puts her golf cart on her trailer, and goes home.
So there's no ramifications for us, for people from Red Hill with a sticker issued by us to come here when they're not in the golf cart zone? We couldn't get our permit, our, through the state pool.
There is a cut through for some of them to access
Okay.
legally. But it's the same thing if I take your car and I'm driving recklessly and speeding down the highway, that's on me to abide by the law. So how they're getting here,
That's your business.
yeah, I don't know.
So enforcement would be the sheriff. So it's,
Yeah. If
I'm just asking because that seems like, here's your sticker, take your $25.
No, they have to
Now
prove
you-
their, they
now
have
you
to
can
prove
drive
their
here, is
insurance.
what
They
they're
have,
thinking.
they have to be safe. They have to complete the application. They also have to have it inspected, and they have to provide proof of insurance.
Well, I drive to the Mexican restaurant and I got fussed at by the sheriff the other day, but, so I was just wondering.
Not okay.
Nope.
Hopefully next month I will be able to give you a little better idea as to business licenses and all, but because of the change, the in-home businesses, some of those licenses were held until everything happened. So we're in the process of processing them now. But I can tell you that business licenses in general are not coming in as they should be. And I'm going to be spending the next week or so literally going out on the street and visiting some of these businesses because they know they're just not complying. And they will pay the late fee. And as to the water that I had put on there, Mary Bell has since picked it up. But you can see that in 1 year, we went from being owed $17,342 to now we're in the negative over $34,000. It almost doubled in 1 year.
These are the delinquent water accounts.
They are delinquent
And
water.
Mary Bell is taking care of that now.
She started, she's processing, she's going through the books. We need Ted and myself and Mary Bell, Martha, we've been talking about some different ways to handle these customers, but
Martha who? Martha?
Martha.
Yeah, okay.
but something, you know, that they all sat stale for a long time, and we need to react.
But we're not going to be able to collect some of those, are we? Isn't that? what-
Probably not.
They have to be a few years old.
I'm sorry?
To collect, it has to be 2 years.
No, no.
One
The
at a time.
the problem with collecting some of them is because they were renters and they moved. And now we have no way to contact those.
Okay.
But going forward, we need a firm process. If you're, whatever it will be, 60 days late, your water's getting shut off and you're getting a lock on it.
But we
Good.
can't do that now. Is that correct? We cannot shut the water
This has
off.
been up in the air for over a year, so I'm not sure where we're at.
Well, let's get it
That-
straight.
Yeah.
What you
That
tell
don't
me
make sense.
is that this $30-some thousand is water.
Correct.
So HRSD is not getting their part either.
Correct. This is just water. They did not get their sewer either.
And that's probably 3 times. $90,000 probably, huh? Isn't it? I mean, HRSD is, ours is very little of it.
I don't know.
Looks like they'd go after it.
Well, I'm sure they do receive delinquency notices. My point is we do not let them get that delinquent. We cut our loss as soon as possible, and the way we cut our loss sooner is we shut them off
So what do you-
until they pay.
What are you telling me? Why haven't we been doing this all along? I mean,
Right.
what's the deal?
Maybe Andrea can answer some of that, or,
I mean,
well, there's codes and there's this and there's that, and every time we tried to move forward, there was obstacles in the way of being able to do that.
And there was also a moratorium during COVID on turning off water.
Wasn't that 3 years ago?
Well,
It lasted.
it went for more.
More than, yeah.
Yes.
We need to,
Attempts to collect at points were ended.
what did you say?
What does that mean?
Points to, at one point to collect processings were starting, we stopped.
You have to remember, if you're going to have, if you do this,
Was told to.
and not by me, this is pre-me, you can't pick and choose.
No.
If you want to set a policy that once you hit $1,000 or $500, you're going to be cut off after due notice, then it doesn't matter who it is,
Right.
they get cut off.
Right.
That's
Right.
how you're going to run a water system and not go
telling
broke.
me we don't have-
Well, what would be
we don't have
wrong
that
with
now?
doing that?
There's nothing wrong with doing
Nothing.
that if you get backed up, okay? To give you a candid conversation, a lot of times staff is told, go and do until they do against the wrong person. And then, oh, well, staff didn't understand what we wanted. Staff's being too aggressive. Staff's not working with people, okay? So I think what Martha's saying is, when those steps were being taken, they weren't being backed up. And I'm not saying it was council, I'm just saying somewhere along the command chain, the backup wasn't there. What I'm hearing is there's definitely going to be a backup. We just need to come up with, okay, what's the threshold number? Is it $500? Is it $1,000? When do we go to somebody and say, you're in arrears? And if y'all would like to give us some guidance, if you want to say,
Well, I
go
think
with
y'all-
500, go with 3,000, go to
I
1,000.
don't,
I'll tell
excuse
you
me,
what,
I don't,
I think you should talk to HRSD and see what their policy is.
Okay.
I mean.
I think
mean,
Michelle
We're
needs
the
to-
guys that collect the money for them, and they're not getting money from us. Looks like to me they'd come back on us.
they actually collect it for us and send us our
Yes.
money. It's
Yeah.
just, but it should not, in my opinion, it should not be a dollar amount. It should be 60 days,
Which is the billing cycle.
which is the billing cycle.
And we can always work with people
They can al-
afterwards.
they
but
can
if we
always-
If we can't, can't we?
No, they're saying they don't want to work with
no,
anybody.
no.
This is
No,
to be
that's
ordered.
not what I'm
Anybody's
hearing.
saying anything.
That's not what
I'm
we're
hearing
saying.
that
We're saying
that
that
you
you
want
all
to,
set the
take an
policy.
action,
If you
and
all,
that-
s- I'm
and that
sorry.
after the action is taken, we still have the ability to work with people on payment plans and those kinds of things, don't we?
Yes, ma'am. Well, even with taxes, I'm going
Yeah,
to pick on
right.
Beth. Beth is not delinquent, but I'm going to call Beth and I'm going to say,
Yeah.
hey, did you forget?
Yeah,
Look, are you on hard times? Do you want to do a payment plan?
right,
I work with these customers who are willing to work back.
right.
Some of them are not willing to do
Yes.
that. So,
And if you wait too long, then it's difficult to take action.
correct. So we can still hang the door hangers. You have until X day to pay.
Right,
And if you don't pay by X day, you're locked.
right.
But what I'm trying to get back to is whatever the policy is, if it's tied to money or it's tied to dates, once they've hit that marker, then they've got to be subject to the same process as
Exactly.
anybody else. It
Exactly.
can't be pick and choose.
And I can definitely say that on past councils, there was not the appetite in some cases to back up staff when they went after people.
true.
And there was also a tendency to go after some people and not others, and that causes a lot of hardship in terms of how the staff deals with that. And so we need to have, as Michelle said, we need to have a uniform policy that when X gets confronted, that somebody amongst us doesn't get a phone call and say, let me talk to him and I'll help you out. It's like, we have
Well,
to
we're
be
going to
uniform.
get the phone call, so we're just going to have to say you have to call Michelle or Maribel or whomever.
Right, but they need to, the staff needs to know that when that call goes out, that it's going to be, I'm sorry, pay your bill.
Can we
Let's
put
do
this
it. I mean,
on,
we're
can
talking
we
about
make a
this
motion to put
thing
this on the
forever.
agenda for a meeting coming up?
Next work
To come up with
Yes.
guidelines for this?
Yes.
Is that the way we should do this?
Yes.
Okay, do I need to make a motion to do that?
Yes.
No.
No,
No.
you don't.
I think
No,
that we
you
should
don't.
ask Ted to make a recommendation to us on what, and then for us to consider, and we can modify that, but it would be great to start with a recommendation from him. Does that sound appropriate?
Well, with input from
Oh,
Michelle, 'cause
obviously,
she's the
yeah,
one who
Michelle
does it.
said-
And
Yes, obviously
what
with
you,
input from
what
him.
I
Get
would
this
like
on
to
the next
also say
agenda.
Yeah,
is,
that's what,
I only received two reports from Hampton Roads, okay? One report I get daily, and on that report, the only thing that I see is a dollar amount. And that is the amount of money coming into the checking account for that day. And I have no account numbers, no names. Was it one payment? Was it 10 payments? I have a dollar amount. Once a month, I receive the past due list, which has everything, name, account number, how long they're delinquent. I have, and I'm not passing any bucks, but I have no access to anything in Hampton Roads, okay? So with Mary Bell coming in and with Martha going to help her, learn this new system, she's going to be on these people and she will have ways to reach out. Again, if you all are going to back us, we're going to go after them, but we can't go after them if we don't have y'all's support.
Let's put it on the agenda and
Yes.
come up with a plan.
Yeah.
One thing that happens is you change staff, and I've been through 3 very recently. And I know this for a fact, that Holly would call you if you hadn't paid your water bill. I know it for a fact. She called me a couple times. And I paid it. What happens is the policies get lost in the transition. Not just this, but it's other things too. Somewhere in the minutes, there's a policy that we probably should have been following, which, but I guess with every council, we probably need to look at different things and do it different ways, but this is a lot of money.
I mean, it doubled in a year.
It's one thing if somebody forgets to pay it.
Right.
Or even if they have a hard time and and you work with them. But so much of it, and it's demographics of what's happening to our community too. We're going to a rental type of community, which is totally different from what it was when I was growing up, I can tell you. And so rentals don't stay around long. Landlords are not always as concerned about a community.
I
Yeah?
will tell you, that does not bear with the delinquent accounts. It is not a majority renter.
That's interesting.
It is not.
Would you please, I would like to see that on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to just hear it. I want to see it.
Yeah, I'll pull it for you.
I,
I'll pull
I,
it for you.
I mean, I don't believe it, first of all.
Yeah,
So
I'll
you
pull it
got to
for you.
show it to me.
Okay.
Okay, I won't say anymore.
Yeah.
No, but that's the, I mean, and it's probably going to be helpful with four-year terms in that there's going to be more of that institutional memory and a culture of enforcement that hasn't been there in the past.
And my other, maybe I'm speaking out of turn because zoning and all that, that's not my forte at all. Give me numbers. The one thing that we are not allowed to do is Bill is my landlord. Martha can't call Bill and tell him that I'm delinquent. On the, we should have forms that these renters would be advised that if they do become delinquent, we have the right to notify their landlord.
So that's not
legal?
any
That's
kind
again
of
part
local or
of,
state
put that
thing.
in a recommendation.
That's going to be up to the, those who
So
know.
I'm asking if it's legal for us to do that.
This is crazy that this has gone on this long.
It depends on how the account is set up.
So for
That didn't
existing
answer.
accounts, could we send out new forms and saying we're updating our records and our forms? Can you please fill this out? Or,
We've already started doing some of that.
okay.
You're
Good.
telling me
Make
you
that
can't
part of
go
the
to a
recommendation.
landlord to pay a water bill?
Correct.
What law is that?
Privacy.
They're the ones that are responsible for it, I would think.
It's the state code. You have to go through a certain process ultimately to have the landlord be responsible.
Damn landlords must have a hell of a lobby in the state legislature,
Well,
you know?
well, no, it's actually the tenants it's for the benefit of the
Yeah,
tenants, not
Yeah.
the
the
landlord.
landlord.
Well, if you don't have to pay it, and the tenant can leave, and then nobody has to pay it,
Well,
whose benefit is that?
but now there's a new law that you can't do cutoffs when the temperature is above 92 or 93
Really?
degrees.
Huh.
The General Assembly is not helping us on the local level.
Interesting.
Okay, so we can talk about this at the next meeting.
Right.
Yes.
Okay,
Anything else for me?
no.
Thank you very much.
All right. Old business? The old business?
Not that I know of.
Ask.
Oh, wait, Sandy.
Old business, I'd like to know personally where we stand on closing on this property. Do we have a date?
I do not have a date. I believe that everything from our side has been completed, and it is my intention to communicate that this evening to Mr. Berry and just kind of politely inquire about where we are.
Oh, these-
There are some documents that I've not received yet.
So the-
Okay, there's something that I'm aware of, that you have you've got to have a bond council approve the loan package? Is that
No.
something
No,
old? I
we
mean,
got
used to,
that-
that
we
that
got
used to be
Mr.
required in
Webb's-
Richmond, Chesterfield, that you had to have the bond council approve
We
it.
had, yes, we had bond counsel assist us with the advertisement for the financing so that a deed of trust could be recorded.
And that deed of trust has been approved?
Well, yes,
Okay.
yeah,
4 months ago?
yeah.
That was like 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And so these ordinances, passing of these ordinances also helped with that.
It's
since
the
we had
last
to-
Well, the
thing.
rezoning
that-
things.
Right,
it's the
the
last
rezoning.
part
Okay.
of what we need to do.
Right,
Okay.
right.
But I have not had any communications in a while.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to communicate and say, you know, I think we're,
Are we ready to close?
well, no, we're not ready because there are documents that I need to review and I haven't received them.
Do you mind telling me what documents?
The covenants and restrictions
Okay.
for what I'm told is like a property owners association.
Is that, I don't understand why that's going to be required.
I don't know, it's not our requirement.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other old business?
Nope.
Any new business? think we're done
Nope.
with that.
Yep.
Public comment? Is there anybody signed up for public comment?
Mr.,
No public comment?
no public comment?
Yes.
Well, come on.
Well, come up.
What are you doing on the sign language for? You lose your voice?
Meriwether Putney, 36 Meadow Lane. I just really wasn't going to talk, but the water thing, I've been on the receiving end. As you probably know, I've got several rental properties in town. Actually had one of the administrators put a lien against my property because my tenant didn't pay. Unless the town has changed the ordinance was stating before the property owner was responsible for the bill if it didn't get paid, which I had gone, at that time was Andy Berry, and fought, because I never got any type of warning that bill was behind, and then next thing I know, I get a bill from the town, $1,800 worth of water bill.
Yeah.
Or I go to refinance and I have a lien against my property,
Wow.
and it wasn't for $3,200. Wow. Which the tenant during COVID got it paid, but that didn't do me any good.
Right.
So unless that ordinance is changed, the property owner is responsible.
Well, we have to abide by state law, and if our ordinance is inconsistent with state law, we have to follow the state law.
Yep.
And the state law says what, once again?
Well, that there are certain processes if you ultimately want to hold the property owner responsible. There are certain ways that the account has to be set up and certain steps that have to be taken.
Well, let's give an advantage to the landowner. Whereas you and I own a piece of property and we don't pay our water bill, you can come after us individually because we own the property, but you can't come after him because he's a renter. That ain't right. I can tell you right now.
Do
We
we
need-
have
we
an
need to be
idea
harder
of
on
how-
these
what's the
landowners.
percentage of?
But I don't
rental
feel like as a
properties?
homeowner or landowner that should be sitting on a $800-900 water bill before I'm notified.
Right.
You
I agree
guys are
with that.
requiring me to sign an application along with the tenant saying I give the permission to the tenant to get the water in their name on my property.
Right.
But for them not to pay the water bill for months and months and
Right.
months, and then I get a notice or
Right.
don't get a
That's not
notice,
right.
No.
that's not due diligence
No.
on the
No,
town
it's
part.
not.
And
Yeah.
I applaud you because I think y'all are going to work on that.
Yeah.
Just want to throw that in.
Yeah.
I've been
Thanks,
on
Tammy.
that side of it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Let us
Tammy.
know.
Thanks, Tammy.
Put
Yeah.
a provision in your lease that says they have to stay current on their
I
utilities.
got one. There's one.
Yeah.
No.
But it doesn't do
Yeah.
any good when I'm fighting City Hall.
Yeah.
So let me just ask you, if we revamp the application that they sign, and that application states that if they do become delinquent, their landlord will be notified, and they're signing that, that would be legal, correct?
There's more steps than that in order to have the landlord be on the hook.
So that's probably what we need to work on
Right.
internally,
'Cause that we
to
want-
give something back to the council in
Yes.
2 weeks.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to be evasive.
No, it's
But
okay. It makes
Ted
sense.
can tell you, he asked me the question and I pulled out, there's 2 statutes and I sent them to him and we were talking on the phone, but I could tell he was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I asked this question. Because I was like, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3. But if you didn't do this, you can't do that.
I just think the landlord, when he goes to sell that property, is gonna be on the hook for
Yeah.
the money that we receive from rentals. That's what I think.
Well, if you've got.
I know I would be if I went to sell it, my own property.
Well, it seems.
If we shut them off before they get to that point,
And then they-
Yeah.
we could
That's
avoid
right.
that whole
That's
situation.
right.
Exactly.
Right.
And you know what? You shut off one
what?
person, the word spreads. Just like right now, I think the word is spread in a banner that don't worry about paying your water bill. They're not going to do anything to you. And I really do think people
Can you
believe that.
charge a fee to reestablish service?
Yeah.
we do,
So
yeah.
we have
Good.
that fee.
Yeah,
Good.
you have to do, you can charge the disconnect fee for turning them off, collect your money, and then when you collect the past due, you collect that disconnect, and you collect the reconnect.
To reconnect, good.
But just bear in mind that while it is hot, we can't disconnect anybody.
Or cold.
Or, yeah,
Yeah.
or cold.
Or,
it's hot right now.
Well,
Yeah.
it's hot now, but
It's gonna be cold.
it's going to be cold. But if you get into that rhythm or that process where after 60 days, 90 days, $1,000, $2,000, whatever it comes up with, when it's 28 degrees, you can't cut them off.
Or if it's
I'm
95
just
degrees,
using
you
saying,
can't.
I don't know
right.
what the code
I
says. The
think it
code,
says 92.
Yeah.
so if it's,
Or
okay,
93.
so,
It's
whatever the
92.
numbers are, if it's above 92, we can't cut them off. So I guess we have to start watching the weather. Oh, tomorrow's 91, we'll cut them off tomorrow. You know.
oh, man.
Can we lower the pressure so they don't have good showers?
Anyway, since it's gravity fed.
Okay, I didn't pick up.
No.
Okay, so,
All right,
Oh, and there is a penalty in your code book for fooling with the meter. So if somebody goes out there and we've turned it off, and they go out there and they turn it back on,
Okay,
that's
Another penalty.
that's another penalty. Yeah.
But when we turn them off, when I first started, they get a lock on.
yeah. Yeah, a little
The
lock.
lock's off and they're
Oh,
turned.
these were good locks. You weren't gonna take them off.
Oh, were they? Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
Are we on announcements now?
We were on announcements. Is it to do with business or is this,
She wants to know if she can adjourn next.
No, no, I'm just gonna say, just everybody keep Bill Height in their thoughts and prayers. He's still in, stable but very critical condition.
yeah.
And if anybody has a minute to take Kathy up there, she's not able to get up there very easily.
I heard she's staying up there.
Is she at the Ronald McDonald House now?
She's staying
Okay,
up there,
so
so
as
she's
of,
good.
as of Tuesday, she was having trouble getting there, so,
Well, she has a place.
good, good.
All right. The only announcement that I have is that it should be in the treasurer's report is that we paid off the overpayment that we got from.
Oh, nice.
the,
Well, technically that happened in July, Dr. Mayor.
Mr. Dr. Mayor.
Dr.
Right, but it wasn't announced publicly.
Well, because it wasn't time yet. It's in July.
Yeah.
Friends of
Okay.
Urbanna held
That's-
a,
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
No,
I
there's an
second.
announcement.
Oh, you had an announcement, I'm sorry.
Friends of Urbanna held a fundraiser that was absolutely fabulous, although I hear everybody got COVID.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't, but.
No, I didn't either.
At the tavern, they're trying to raise money to match that $25,000 grant got. And I think they're gonna do it.
Good,
And,
good.
It was a nice event.
What about COVID?
Everybody got COVID.
It was a super spreader event.
Yeah, super spreader.
Wow.
Glad I didn't get.
And I couldn't go.
I
All right.
wasn't there for
My
it.
levels were too
Now,
low.
who's gonna say,
Motion to adjourn.
thank you? Second?
Second.
All right. Mary Hanson.
Yes.
Beth Justice.
Yes.
Larry Chitty.
Yes.
I don't know if
I
I'll
say
make
yes. Alana Courtney. Marjorie Austin. Sandy Sturgis.
Yes.
I'll go to that.